Hello everyone, I'm Brian and welcome back. Let's go ahead and continue to rewind it just a little bit.
It will take root, and do it as often as you can. You will see very soon. You say, I have no real love of God. I don't have bhakti. How to get bhakti? Very soon you will have a genuine, undeniable love of God in your heart. You'll get it. That comes. This love of God is not just a feeling. This feeling is expressed. Always genuine love will be expressed. I love such and such person. Oh, what do you do? I don't do anything. I just love. Not very useful. That kind of love is not very genuine either. Love, bhakti, is always expressed in service, in doing things for the person you love. Whatever you love, you would like to do something. If it's a person, if it's a cause, whatever it is, God, you do something. So love, bhakti is expressed in seva. In fact, in Sanskrit, the root for bhakti, bhaj, dhatu, the root in Sanskrit grammar, one of the meanings of that root for bhakti is bhaj sevayam. Bhaj also means to seva, to do seva. So to love should always be expressed in doing something. And the more you do, here's the secret, the more you do something for the Lord, the more you love the Lord. Tell me this, who loves more? The parents who do everything for the child, or the child who has done or gets everything done for him or her? Who loves more? Do the children love the parents more, or the parents love the children more? The parents love the children more, without any doubt. The children are often the most selfish little creatures there are. No, they have to be at a certain age, and they need love. So the parents give love. Parents love the children more. Why? One reason is because they do more for the child. The more you do, more seva you do for the Lord, the more you do for the Lord, more your bhakti will increase. This is another way of getting bhakti for the Lord. Seva. Not only seva for the Lord, not only doing things for the Lord, but actually you will see converting every action as an action of love. When you eat, whether you walk, whether you talk, whether you sleep, connect all those things with the beloved. So Swami Vivekananda says, never approach anything except as God. When you eat, imagine you're not feeding yourself. You are feeding the Lord within. Maybe the child Krishna is within you're feeding. I am not eating. When you're listening to beautiful music, imagine you're pouring that music at the feet of the Lord within. Powerful spiritual practice. When you are walking, imagine you are walking to the temple of the Lord. When you are sleeping, imagine you are meditating on the Lord, or you are going to sleep in the lap of the Divine Mother. All the activities that we do, as long as they are moral activities, I know as long as they are not terribly bad, all the activities that we do can be connected to God. To connect all your activities to God, that is another powerful way. Immediately, you see, one of the important things about bhakti is it immediately gives result, straight away. If you want to be happy, said somebody, if you want to be happy, fall in love with God. There's a deep connection between happiness and love. In this country, and more so all over the West, and increasingly so all over the world, including India and everywhere else, the goal of the ideal of happiness seems to be this ideal of romantic love. That I'll find somebody to love who will love me back, and hence I will be happy.
It's kind of weird. I would say mostly in the Western world, though, at least as far as I'm understanding or seeing. I'm not denying the fact that maybe what he's experiencing is that happiness comes from money. And don't get me wrong, money can make you happy, but it's out of the three or four that Swami Sarvarpriyananda talks about, it's the first part. It will get you happy, but it's for a very short period of the time. Job will make you happy, a little bit longer. Serving people will make you happy, very long. And that's generally what he talks about. The science says 3, he says 4, which is awareness, pure consciousness, Atman, Brahman. That's when you are ultimately happy. the way I see that in terms of logical or whatever you want to call it is content. Is the fact that you're not saddened by things. You're not expecting a lot. You just enjoy life the way it is, and that's it. Nothing more, nothing less. And I see that as something very similar to what they explain bliss is. Because, again, the definition of bliss, from my understanding, is something very joyful, so ecstatic, it's so powerful. But I don't know if that's really what it's meant to be. I personally, as far as I can tell, I think bliss means to be content, where you're not overly joyed or saddened. It's neither one. It's just a state of being where emotions are not really affecting you, which is, generally speaking, content. It's about the closest I think I can define it. But then again, I don't know. They always say bliss. Bliss to me is something very extreme, very, very pleasurable, so much so. And I don't know if I'd like that. Now, to be content, that's a different thing. I think that is magnificent. But then again, it could be content. That could be bliss, but it just could be a definition thing, that how I've understood bliss versus content.
Mostly it ends in disappointment and frustration and irritation. Yeah. But there is a deep truth in that. It's not all wrong. It is true. Only thing is, it succeeds only if you relate that love to the divine. Fall in love with the divine, you will be happy, permanently so. You will never be disappointed. What is the result of such bhakti? There is in the Naradiya Bhakti Sutra, there is this. It says, Siddho bhavati, amrito bhavati, tripto bhavati. One becomes spiritually perfect, one becomes immortal, one becomes completely satisfied in life. Think about it. Spiritual perfection requires spiritual sadhana. Siddha, the Sanskrit word siddhi, requires sadhana. From sadhana comes siddhi. From spiritual practice comes spiritual perfection. In bhakti, love is itself its own spiritual practice. Without any other spiritual practice, you get perfection. Amrita, immortal. How does one become immortal? Tameva viditva ati mrityumeti. The Upanishad says, by realizing Brahman, one goes beyond death. One becomes immortal. Amrito bhavati. One becomes immortal by the knowledge of Brahman. But here, by bhakti, by love of God, one gets that knowledge automatically without doing all that, the Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, the Vedantic study of the Upanishads, and then the reasoning about it, getting the conviction, and then Vedantic meditation, until you get Brahma Jnana, the illumination, the moment of illumination which comes, Brahma Jnana. Instead of all of that, put all of it aside. Just love God. Sri Ramakrishna says, my mother, Ma Kali, Ma dikhiye diyechen Ved Vedanta tikhiyache. The Divine Mother has shown me what is there in Veda and Vedanta. Sri Krishna says again and again in the Gita, those who love me, those who take refuge in me, I shall give them jnana. I shall give them that Brahma Jnana. You will get that Brahma Jnana from the Lord Himself. The moment you get that Brahma Jnana, Amrito Bhavanti, you become immortal. Immortality is gained thereby. Sri Krishna says, Daivi esha gunamai mama maya duratyaya. My maya, this samsara, very difficult to cross over. Made of the three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas. This divine maya of mine is very difficult to cross over. How do you cross over? The Jnani will say, well, we need to study the Upanishads and realize that I am the Atman, and all the objections will come, and we have to do a lot of reasoning and attend lots and lots of Vedanta classes without falling asleep, and take plenty of notes, and then argue and argue and argue, and then once you have got some kind of understanding, meditate on that understanding, Vedantic meditation, Nididhyasana, and finally maybe already you feel exhausted listening to all of that. Maybe we will get that. But what does Sri Krishna say? How will you cross over Maya? Mameva ye prapadyante Maya metam tarantite. Those who take refuge in me, those who love me, they alone shall cross Maya. Fall in love with God, God will take you across Maya. Sri Ramakrishna says, There is this, instead of paddling across the ocean of life on a little raft, tie your boat to the cruise ship. These huge cruise ships are there. Cruise ship is the avatar, is the Lord. The Lord will pull you across the ocean of life. Amrito bhavanti, you become immortal. The result of jnana you get by bhakti. Tripto bhavati, becomes completely satisfied. You see, what do we do to get satisfaction? We try to enjoy things in the world. Good food, good music, good company, relationships, power, money, success, vacations, the latest iPhone, whatnot. Enjoyments in the world. For what? All for satisfaction. A little tripti, the word used in Sanskrit, tripti of the heart. Does it work? Not really. It doesn't. Nobody yet has been able to claim that I have got permanent, lasting satisfaction by things of the world. Nobody, not one person. Temporarily, yes. Momentarily, yes. But permanently, after a day, after a week, after a month, after a year, after 10 years, no. Nobody. But by bhakti, tripto bhavati. When the love of God comes into your heart, complete satisfaction, lasting joy, permanent joy. Tulsidas says, the gopis, it's either Tulsidas or somebody else, maybe Tulsidas. Those who love God, like the gopis of Krishna, their heart cries out when they miss the Lord. When Krishna is not there, the Sanskrit word is viraha, the divine sorrowing after the Lord. That divine sorrow, he says, all the joys of the world taken together do not give even a speck of the happiness that sorrow for the Lord gives. The tears you shed not when you get the Lord, when you miss the Lord, when you do not find the Lord, the happiness you get from that is much more than all the joys of the world together. Tripto bhavati. Without any other sadhana, siddho bhavati. Without trying directly for jnana, amrito bhavati, becomes immortal. Without trying to enjoy the things of the world, complete satisfaction, tripto bhavati. All by what? By bhakti, by love of God. Love is a many-splendored thing, they say. There's a saying. What are the splendors of love? Akshaya. There it says akshaya. Love does not decay. You know, even
say that in modern times to young people and trying to get into relationships, but I get what he's saying. Obviously, you know, a lot of the young people today think they're in love and think they know what love is and qualifications for love, and I'm thinking obviously I'm thinking very narrow point of view of what love is in terms of relationship. But for some reason I follow weird stuff and think a lot of things, and love, generally speaking, in terms of relationship. And he's talking about relationship between you and God, and obviously the love that young people think they know and have or whatever is all temporary, and they don't even know what love is. They think there's certain qualifications or whatever it is, but they don't think of love as like this, devotion. They think of love as something else, as what someone can do for you, or perhaps what someone can do for you, because that proves that they love you. And I understand he says along the same lines as, you know, the more that you can do for the Lord, the better your bhakti is. But I don't think of it the same way as if you can do more and more things, the more and more you actually love God. But it's not necessarily that. And also the love difference is, one is generally speaking materialistic, which is the young love, whereas this one is just anything can be that. Anything is very cherishable, whereas love in modern times seems to be very materialistic. And even if you do something for someone, it has to be expensive. Not speaking from experience, and obviously I think this is a case that's kind of growing, where it's very, very materialistic, and it's the number of people following this version of love, I do believe it to be growing. I don't know that for a fact, but I do think it's growing. And I think it's because more and more countries are becoming, countries, cities, whatever, towns, are becoming more, how to say, I don't want to say modern, but easy. Like, survival is no longer the priority. So when survival is not a priority, we look at other things. We have a higher expectation, I suppose. But yes, the love here is, while you can do a lot more for the Lord, but it's not just materialistic. It's just merely cleaning your house for the Lord is amazing. Folding clothes, washing dishes, cutting the grass, working on your garden, growing all that. Those little things cost no money and devoted to the Lord.
Human love. Even when the lovers died, love is supposed to be immortal. The Taj in India, the Taj Mahal, it's a symbol of human love. The emperor for his beloved queen, he made the Taj. Rabindranath Tagore puts it so beautifully, so evocatively. Everything passes away in time. Everything passes away in time. But the Taj, he says, it's a teardrop on the face of eternity. How beautifully put. The Taj is a teardrop in the face of eternity. Love is immortal. One of Kabir Das's beautiful bhajans, translated again so nicely by Rabindranath Tagore himself. He says, from the beginning of time till the end of time, there is such love between me and thee. How could such love ever be extinguished? So my Lord, so thou art my Lord, I am thy servant. Thou art my Lord, I am thy servant.
Real quick to go what I was saying a little bit earlier. I don't want to lose hope for anyone. There are genuine people out there who love each other and love each other for the short time that we have in this earth, actually. Kind of like what he was talking about, how the Taj Mahal was created for the queen to express his love and devotion to her. I don't remember. I have some vague understanding of the story. I don't remember if this is just. Did he have multiple queens? But this one queen alone was the one that I guess maybe stood out the most. I can't. I don't remember. I've heard something like that. I don't remember if I'm mixing up stories or not. But let me know. But yes, there is genuine love, and about how. I think he was talking something earlier, and I was thinking about old people who's been in a relationship for 30 years, who genuinely love each other, and I think that's genuinely fantastic. To find genuinely true love, where you love each other for who each other is. But I fear that type of love is dying in modern times.
How could such love be extinguished? Akshayishnu, it never diminishes. It never ends. Samadhi, in the path of meditation, Nirvikalpa Samadhi, you know what is it meant for? It is meant for separating Purusha and Prakriti. Once the Purusha realizes itself apart from Prakriti, in its own splendor. After enlightenment, do you need Nirvikalpa Samadhi? No. Nirvikalpa Samadhi, even the highest Samadhi, is necessary up to enlightenment. Once you get that knowledge, get that freedom, not necessary. Does God need Nirvikalpa Samadhi? No. Jnana, the path of knowledge. When you study the Vedanta, when you hear the truth, Shravana, when you cogitate upon that, when you reason it out and see how I am not the body and not the mind, finally you meditate upon it, Nididhyasana, and you get what is technically called Brahmakara Vritti, the moment of cognition, the flash of illumination. I am Brahman. It happens. After that I am Brahman moment of realization, do you need to hold on to that? No. Does Brahman need to hold on to Brahmajnana? No. Sri Ramakrishna says, the thorn of ignorance is in your flesh. Take the thorn of knowledge and remove the thorn of ignorance. Will you keep the thorn of knowledge in your flesh? No. Throw it out. Even Brahmajnana is not required after moksha is attained. But love, bhakti, Will you ever say, oh, I love my beloved. Now that I have my beloved, I'll stop loving. How silly. Before you get God, you will love God. Once you get God, you will love God even more.
And never stop.
Akshayishnu, it never decays, it never dies, eternal. That's why the lovers of God say, we do not want moksha, liberation. We just want love of God. Life after life, let me just love God, nothing else do I want. Akshayishnu. Then it says, Sneha, another splendor of love. Always there's a glow of love, the warmth of love in your heart. There is not the serene aloofness of the yogi meditating in a cave. No, there is the glow of love within you. There is not the detachment of the jnani, of the path of knowledge. I am not the body, not the mind, not the world. Well, you be that. Madhusudan Saraswati, the greatest of the jnanis, one of the greatest of the Advaitins, non-dualists in India, he wrote this, his magnum opus, Advaita Siddhi, one of the most difficult books ever written in any language anywhere in the world, establishment of non-duality. That same Madhusudan Saraswati says in his commentary on the Gita, in one touching place, very beautiful place, he says, if the yogis want to retire to the caves and meditate in the darkness of the caves upon the light in their hearts, let them do so. For me, it is enough to see the little blue boy playing on the banks of the Yamuna. That's all I want to see. Who says this? Madhusudan Saraswati. There is a saying that Bodhat Prag Dvaitam Mohaya. Before illumination, before realization, duality can put you in delusion. It can put you in samsara, this world of ours. Prapte Manishaya. Once you get enlightenment, I am Brahman, in the path of knowledge. Bhaktyartham kalpitam dvaitam advaitadapi sundaram. The duality conceived for the sake of love is more beautiful than non-duality. Once you realize the non-dual truth that I am Brahman.
I'm going to rewind that.
Once you get enlightenment, I am Brahman, in the path of knowledge. Bhaktyartham kalpitam dvaitam advaitadapi sundaram. The duality conceived for the sake of love is more beautiful than non-duality. Once you realize the non-dual truth that I am Brahman, all this is the divine. After that, then again you conceive of a difference between yourself and the Lord. And why do you do that? For loving, for love. And that love conceived for the sake of love, that duality is more beautiful than non-duality. So before enlightenment, duality puts you in samsara. After enlightenment, the duality conceived for bhakti, for love, is more beautiful than non-duality.
That's what I was thinking. It's the fact that when you to love a god is duality. That's what I think I said it in the last video, and it was kind of confusing because Advaita Vedanta talks about non-duality, and it's weird to say that it's accepted. Isn't the point of Advaita Vedanta to be non-duality, or is bhakti not something necessarily included in Advaita Vedanta, or is it a path that hopefully eventually you become non-duality, where you no longer just love God, but or maybe you evolve past seeing this duality in terms of loving a God that's separate from you to the point where you love everything, including yourself, as God. Because Advaita Vedanta, you are Atman Brahman, everything's Brahman. So where you still have this devotion to yourself and to God, but because God is everything, including yourself, you love everything. Maybe that's the development of bhakti in Advaita Vedanta? Perhaps? That's the way how I can see it evolve from duality to non-duality, where this love is just everywhere, as opposed to a figure or this duality of something. Yeah. Can't remember if I asked that question where bhakti is duality. I think I did ask it in the first one though.
Bhaktyartham kalpitam dvaitam. The imagined, conceived duality. Advaitadapi sundaram. More beautiful than non-duality. So that love, that glow of love is always there in your heart. It's not an aloof intellectual kind of engagement, not a complete detachment, cutting off, of shutting down the body and the mind. And no, everything is active. Nitya Nutana, another splendor of love. It is ever new. It never gets boring. All other things may become boring. Many people say, I worship Swami, I do the puja, but it becomes mechanical after some time. It does. It does. It's a kind of activity. If there is no love in it, it will become mechanical. I repeat the mantra, Swami, I'm supposed to repeat it. Without love, if you repeat the mantra, it will become dull and boring.
Yes.
I try to meditate, Swami, close my eyes and withdraw into the world. Mind keeps going out here and there. Mind keeps running around here and there. It will. It will. Because the mind finds it dull. You're trying to snuff out the mind inside yourself. It finds it dull. Why should it? It's like a naughty little kid. It wants to run about.
Okay. And I was just thinking along the lines of duality and bhakti. Duality and non-duality. Duality has samsara and all the karmas, the papa karma, the bad karma, and how you're going to suffer in this life. And that's why would you want that as a follower of bhakti, to believe in this duality? Because this duality, you'll have karma, karma yoga, all the good and bad karma, and all the suffering that you'll still suffer through this. But if you genuinely feel 100% love for God or bhakti, devotion to God, you accept it and rejoice in it. It's like, oh, it's fine. I'm showered in this love. And it's very, I don't know, I have this understanding of this, and I don't know, I'm trying to think along the lines of, does a Westerner, someone who, say, maybe atheistic, or someone who doesn't, who may be a follower of God but doesn't quite understand this level of love, would understand? I'm trying to find a way to interpret it. But it's because you've accepted everything in your life as is, both the good and the bad, that it is fine. Because you know you're going to be taken care of. And even in trying to rationalize it, it's the fact that the way I look at devotion from my own perspective, from my own understanding, is that I can have this level of devotion to things in life. The point to rationalize that, I will understand what I need to do and give it my best shot. And if the worst case scenario happens, then at least I know I gave it my all, and I won't look at it necessarily in a bad perspective or bad way, because look, it turned out bad, but I did the best that I can. And me crying or whining or thinking negatively about it, it's not going to change the fact of what already happened. I just have to think again, find a way to fix it, and continue on with my life. That way I'm not suffering from the whatever horrible thing that has happened, and I continue on with my life looking at it in a different kind of perspective. I acknowledge the bad thing that has happened. I don't let it torment me. I make the best of it, and I either fix it if I can, or find a way to, if possible, to fix it, or to do a different thing to fix the original problem that's it's supposed to fix. You know, so it's not something that's holding me back. It's not like a burden that has been laid on me and now I can't get it removed because I'm letting it bother me. No, I'm like, okay, that's a problem, that didn't work, let's find out a different solution for that problem. Moving on. Learn what you can from that first issue and take that with you to make you better for the next time you try. That's how I look at devotion. It's the fact that you devoted yourself to this thing. It may have failed, bad thing, and you learn from it to continue this devotion to fix that original problem, even though the first time it failed, maybe the second time it failed, the third time it failed. You continue this devotion to fix this problem by learning from your mistakes from the past and not using those mistakes from the past to hold you back. And that is my kind of version of devotion, where you continue this path even though there's so many mistakes, so many bad things happening, but you keep on going and learning from the mistakes and not letting those mistakes hold you back. I don't know if that's exactly a one-to-one, but that's the way I look at it so far.
But love, it's never boring, it's never dull. Nobody, in fact, even in human love, the boy and girl who fall in love with each other, they find it the most happy and exciting time of their lives. They don't say that, oh, I am so much in love, how dull and boring it is. Nobody says it's so ridiculous. Nobody ever heard of such a thing. Nitya Nutana, always new. Love is always new. In love, they say another splendor of love is vakrata. Vakrata means, it's difficult to translate into English. It means a little twist, a little what you might call spice. The path of knowledge is very straight. The path of meditation very straight. All other paths are very straight. You go to God. You go to enlightenment, meditation, whatever. But in the path of love, there is a spice. There is a twist. Let me give examples you will understand. Once Rakhal, Swami Brahmananda, Sri Ramakrishna considered him his spiritual child. And so Rakhal, who was 18 or 19 years at that time, would behave like a child of 5 or 6 years with Sri Ramakrishna. And one day he said, I'm hungry. And Sri Ramakrishna looked around in his room, no food was there. So Sri Ramakrishna went, he was also like a child. He went to the bank of the Ganges and he shouted, Oh Gaurdasi, Gopalar Ma, the mother of Gopala, the lady who would, the widow who would see visions of the child Krishna, baby Krishna all the time. Oh mother of Gopala, Gopalar Ma, Gaurdasi, come, my Rakhal is hungry, come and bring food. To the river, he shouted out to the river and came back, quite satisfied. Within a short time, a boat came across the river with Balaram Babu and Gopalar Ma, and they had got rasagulla, the sweet cheese balls soaked in syrup. And they came, amazingly they came, amazing coincidence. Or was it? I don't know. And then Sri Ramakrishna calls out to Rakhal, oh, come, come, this food has come. And he says to the others, look, my Rakhal is hungry, so here's the food, come and eat. Now Rakhal is annoyed. He said, yeah, I'm hungry, but you have to shout and tell everybody that I'm hungry. And Sri Ramakrishna says, what's wrong in it? You are hungry, so I told people that you are hungry. There's nothing wrong in it. This humor, this little teasing, this little annoyance is always there in any kind of love. You will find a little bit of annoyance is there, a little bit of quarrel, lovers' tiffs are there, a little bit of teasing is there. Vakrata, that is the sweetness. There's a lot of sweetness involved in that. And there are lots of ups and downs.
Okay. I think I get it.
Abhaya, another splendor of love. Fearlessness. In love, there is fearlessness. The moment you come to bhakti, the religion of awe becomes the religion of love. Haven't you seen in a house big, fierce dog, which outsiders are scared of, but the baby of the house who can barely walk, a toddler, can punch the dog, can climb on the shoulders of the dog, and the dog just plays with the baby and licks the baby and doesn't do anything else, just protects the baby. In the same way, a similar story is the Nrisingha avatar, the most terrible of the incarnations of God, who came forth to protect the boy Prahlada from the demon Hiranyakashipu, who was an atheist and who hated God. And Prahlada was his son, the demon's son, who loved God. And of course Hiranyakashipu could not bear it.
Hold on, let's rewind that real quick. Demon here, hold on.
From the demon Hiranyakashipu, who was an atheist and who hated God.
Who was an atheist and who hated God. I mean, well, you can't be an atheist and hate God. But I wonder if that's translated wrong or something. Because atheist means you don't believe in them. They don't exist. So to say that you hate something that doesn't exist, it's really... I'm nitpicking here, but it's kind of, again, it's like an atheist who hated God. No, you're a theist who hates God. Maybe, well, he's a demon. A demon here in... Who wasn't he?
And Prahlada was his son, the demon's son, who loved God. And of course Hiranyakashipu could not bear it.
That's weird. It can't be an atheist, and I wonder if that's a mistranslation. A demon who's an atheist and hates God. I mean, demons alone resides in that realm, so...
And one day, the demon who was an emperor of demons, Rakshasas, he said, where is this God of yours? And the little Prahlada said, everywhere. Is he in that pillar? Yes, he's in that pillar. And Hiranyakashipu, this is a story which every Indian child knows. He kicks that pillar, and from the pillar comes out this terrible form of half man, half lion. And there's a story behind that. Why does it have to be half man, half lion? And all those things are there. Long story. And then kills the demon. But it's so terrifying that everybody's terrified of this incarnation. How to calm down God in his wrathful form. They said, put the little child Prahlada on the lap of this fierce emanation of God. And when they do that, immediately the Nrisingha Avatara calms down when he looks with eyes of love upon the little child sitting on his lap. So love leads to fearlessness, abhaya. I think I've told this story earlier, but this is the right time to tell the story again. This thing about, like many mythologies, are acted out in India in drama, in theater. So one of the well-known theaters is Prahlada, the story of Prahlada. And in the climax of the play is when the demon Hiranyakashipu kicks the pillar and the Lord comes out in this terrible form. And you can imagine, a lot of special effects are involved. The actor is dressed up with a mask of a lion and all those things. Now, and this is a real thing, it actually happened. There's a little bunch of little kids who were performing that play. And when it came to the climax, it's a royal palace, 2 pillars have been set up. Behind one of the pillars, and the audience can see everything. Behind one of the pillars is this half man, half lion hiding there and waiting for the pillar to be kicked down. And the little boy who's Prahlada and the demon Hiranyakashipu, who's another little boy, maybe a little bigger. Where is this God of yours? And the little boy Prahlada says, he's everywhere. Is he behind this pillar? Now the boy knew that the actor who was playing Nrisingha is hiding behind the other pillar. So he said, no, he's behind that pillar. Which really deals a heavy blow to the omnipresence of the Lord. So it was very smart of the kid, because he was afraid the whole thing was going to flop if this demon goes and kicks down this pillar and nobody comes out of it.
Actually, I remember that story, and I can't remember whether I've seen a play of it or just a little bit of a play of it or something. I remember seeing a little bit of it because I was kind of curious. Definitely wouldn't mind seeing the play of it, for sure. I mean, it's very strange because I honestly did not think I'd like plays, but some time ago in high school I watched Anne Frank play, like, people live acting it in a theater, and I really enjoyed it. So I kind of want to go back and watch more live action theater. It's just different, I guess.
Fearlessness is one aspect of love. Another aspect of love is, they say,
we will get to the next aspect of love in a different video. I do want to see that play. I wonder if there's one online that I can watch. And I do remember seeing something of it for some odd reason. I don't know whether I'm just making it up in my head and thinking that I've seen it, or if I actually seen it. But I do remember him telling, was it him? Or is it Sadhguru also that told about that story? It had to be probably Swami. But anyways, that's my reaction so far for part 2 of the Way of Love, or Way of Bhakti. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. Thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.